Aloha and welcome to the Big Island Hawaii Ultra podcast. This is show number 8. We have an interview with Billy Barnett. If you've ever read the book Born to Run, that's actually Billy right there on the cover. And Billy is a maverick, so we thought we'd start with a little horse video here. And Billy summarized many of the things that happened to him in his life by telling me, how did that happen? So please support our show by subscribing, or you can go to our Patreon site at patreon.com/HawaiiUltra and donating. So please enjoy today's program. Aloha! We have Billy Barnett. Happy Wednesday, Billy.
Happy Wednesday.
How are you? How's things where you live?
Oh, it's great. It's a nice sunny day here in Volcano. So we've been doing a lot of yard work, a lot of digging around and planting, and enjoying the weather.
I saw your significant other, Alex. I saw she had posted that she was something about ginger.
Yeah, we had that invasive ginger that's just rampant here in Volcano. So we've been cutting it and pulling it up and just trying to clear it out so we can plant stuff.
What's the weather today? Is it windy today? Today it's pretty windy up here.
Yeah, it's a little breezy, but not, pretty ideal Volcano day. It's like the spring or fall kind of year round. It's one reason why I love it so much.
Yeah, I feel somewhat guilty when I see other people posting their weather, on the mainland and stuff, and it's kind of like, oh, sorry, 75 degrees for our high and about 56 for our low every day.
It's hard to complain.
Oh, but everybody has the right to complain.
Yeah.
Oh, and today I brought out special. I brought the lava lamp out. I got back here.
Psychedelic.
By the Tailwind. Thank you, Tailwind. Thank you, Maggie, and everybody at Tailwind for sponsoring me. And, oh, yeah, this is a good time if you got anybody you want to have you sponsor you. We can put them into the show and stuff.
I'm not. I've always I've thought consumerism isn't good for the collective conscious. So I've I'm stubborn in that regard.
That's a great attitude, I think. I agree with that, too. I see too much of it nowadays. So, Mr. Barnett, Billy Barnett, I've known you for, 20 years, 15 years, and I don't really know that much about you. I mean, where were you raised and stuff?
I grew up in Virginia Beach, Virginia, and I went to school in Richmond, Virginia, and so I'm from the East Coast and grew up there, and that's when I got into running and health and fitness and all that stuff. So,
well, when you say you grew up in Virginia Beach, so my guess then would be, were you ever a lifeguard?
Yeah, I was a lifeguard for 8 summers. So that was one of the catalysts for running. I would have so many breaks. I would run along the beach and swim. So and got into paddling there too. So lifeguarding was a big part of my growing up.
Where'd you go to high school?
I went to high school right in Virginia Beach. Frank W. Cox High School. It's a pretty big school. And I grew up playing baseball and wrestling for a little bit. And that's kind of where, when I was in 7th grade, my parents, for Christmas one year, when I was in 7th grade, gave me a gym membership and a subscription to, it was like this book, Body for Life, and a gym membership. And that's what kind of got me into health and fitness. Was I just became obsessed with working out and lifting weights, and then I played baseball, and my dad built a batting cage in our backyard. So I always loved I would just go hit for hours and hours. And I think that's kind of similar to running, just the meditative, maybe that's why I like running so much. It's kind of like a meditative activity where you can just do and kind of zone out. So maybe growing up with a batting cage in my backyard had something to do with it.
I loved baseball. I mean, back in the day, a long time before you, but we would go out and there was no hey, I'm going to go play baseball. They knew I was going to go play baseball, and 8 hours later when it got dark, I'd be back.
Yeah. So I quit when I was in, junior in high school is when I quit and kind of started growing out my hair and just kind of like rebelled and was like, screw baseball. I'm just going to surf and, and surf and run and, not be involved with any team sports. So
That's funny because I never knew about Amy. I never realized I interviewed Amy a couple of days ago that she's a big surfer.
Yeah. This is a good place to be for ocean, mountain and ocean activities.
So back in Virginia Beach, when you were becoming a hippie, and I'm assuming wearing tie-dyed shirts and stuff like I did when I was back there, and it was being I don't want to say solitary, but it was like your pursuits seemed to be more, like you said, not team oriented. So how did you pursue your pursuit, or how did you pursue sports that were not team oriented? Was it just running?
No, surfing really, I guess. It started with surfing when I was in high school. Like me and some friends, we would just surf all the time, and that's what we were obsessed with. And then that sort of like morphed into running when I was in college. I just started running and heard about a 50-mile trail race, and I was like, and it just sounded like a cool challenge to try. So that's how I got into running ultramarathons.
Do you remember what 50-miler it was?
It's the Mountain Masochist in Lynchburg, Virginia. It's one of the David Horton races. So he's kind of like a ultra running legend. That he puts on a lot of races still up in that area.
So what was it? So it's a trail race. Is it an East Coast kind of trail race?
It's a lot of elevation gain. I think there's about 8,000 feet of elevation gain in the 50 miles. So it's kind of, it's like the typical Appalachian where it's just short, steep climbs, but it's it was tough and it was a cool challenge. And after I did that, I was just sold, hooked on ultra running.
Yeah, it's funny. All it takes is that one time out in the middle of nowhere, maybe by yourself or with other people, and you go, "Hey, I like this."
Yeah.
Have you ever run any of Sean Blanton, the Run Bum?
Oh no, I never run any of his races, but I'd like to. I know I've been living here for the past 12 years, so I haven't really run a ton of races outside of the island in Hawaii. So, just because it's been so hard to travel a lot. It's expensive to go anywhere. So.
Yeah, people don't realize that our travel time is anywhere from 5 to 10 hours to get to races and stuff. And it's not like we can jump in a car and, we are lucky. We'll talk about the races we have here. We can, here we can jump in a car and go to a race, but not like on the mainland.
I know you have a whole, the whole continent really, to choose from. You just get in a car and drive across the country if you wanted to.
Well, that used to be, back in the day when I was living in Colorado, living in Aspen, I lived in a Ford super van for years. It was all I needed. It was fine.
Where did you grow up at?
Oh, I grew up in Chicago, got out of there as soon as I saw anything else, moved to Minnesota, went to school in Minnesota. So I was up in the Boundary Waters canoe area. You'd love it up there.
Is that in like Duluth and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, Highway 66, as the Bob Dylan song says. And it's great up there because there's no motorized boats. There's no planes that are allowed to fly overhead. And it's just these crystal clear lakes that you can paddle in.
Whew, yeah, it sounds nice and quiet.
A little different from our oceans here. So how would you compare surfing Virginia Beach to surfing West Coast? Or did you ever surf on the West Coast?
Never in California or in Oregon, but so pretty much just the East Coast in here. Here like the East Coast is rough. The Atlantic can be mean. It just has this like raging feel to it. Where here it's more of a gentle, unless there's some sort of windstorm, but it's definitely a different experience.
Have any underwater stories back in Virginia Beach where it was like, oh, I wasn't sure if I was going to come up?
Oh, yeah, a lot. Especially in Outer Banks of North Carolina, Hatteras. like that's kind of where I've been held down the most, like where I almost thought I was going to die. It was like kind of like a big day there and just being held under and tossed around. But even back from my like earliest memories as a kid, I remember like liking that feeling though of like being like tossed around underwater and just completely relaxing and just being like thrown around like a rag doll kind of. Like I've never minded that. It's always like been a peaceful kind of experience.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, I think a lot of surfers and a lot of water sports people would say the same thing, that they feel very calm in the water.
Definitely, and I kind of it's similar to I've been doing the past several years. I've been like practicing like a lot of different like breathing techniques, and like you might have heard of like the Wim Hof breathing technique. So that's kind of a cool one to try if you've never.
No, what's that? What's that one?
Well, it's pretty much a way to kind of like to kind of control your like autonomic like nervous system, like when you have that panic feeling, and then to kind of like suppress it and push through it. So what it's like 3 rounds of breathing where it's like 30 breaths in. And on the 30th breath, you breathe in, exhale, and then hold your breath for as long as you can. And you kind of like have that moment of panic and and then you kind of suppress it. And then it's just a whole, like you should look it up, the Wim Hof breathing. And then another component of it is cold water submersion. So it's like the breathing in the cold. And that's kind of couple things I've been practicing for the past few years.
I noticed that Alex has been posting stuff, Strava stuff about cold water. Is that what you guys have been doing?
We have a chest freezer that we fill with water and keep it at like 35 to 40 degrees and like sit in it each day.
Wait, now for my benefit, I assume this is naked that you guys are in there?
No. We don't want to scare the neighbors. So.
Well, it's funny. I used to be a member of the Aspen Club, and they had a steam room and a cold plunge.
Oh,
and
yeah.
I really loved going between the two.
Yeah, that's sort of the next thing I want to get is a sauna eventually. So I'll have the cold and then a sauna, and then it'll be kind of like a retreat here or something, our own retreat.
Well, it's funny. We are blessed with sometimes our natural sauna, not so much where you are or where I'm at, but, I always want to not tell people, oh no, it never really gets humid in Hawaii. Sometimes it does, but not that much really.
Yeah. Compared to like the sweltering East Coast. But I feel like since the first moment I came to Volcano, I knew like this is where I wanted to live. Like the first moment I was here, I was like, oh my God, this place is amazing. It's, like 60 degrees, low 60s all the time. And at night it gets chilly, into the 40s in the winter. And it's just kind of like, it's like an inspiring feeling that's in the air here all the time.
Well, why did you come to Hawaii? What's the first time that you can remember coming here?
Well, I moved here. My brother was living on Oahu. He's in the Navy. So I was living in Bend, Oregon, and kind of came over to stay with him for a while. And then I ended up getting a job here at a therapeutic, like a wilderness therapy program, and worked in Ka'u. So it's on the southern part of the island. And it was therapy through like farming and gardening. It's like a rite of passage based program.
Oh, do you remember what it's called or what it was called?
It's called Pacific Quest.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it was like for at-risk teenagers that kind of get sent away, like they're either like suicidal, depressed, drug problems, or just any sort of psychological problems. Their parents don't know how to handle it, so they send them to this program. And it was like an immersive, like working there was really intense. It was like a week on, week off shift. So for a week at a time, like 24/7, I'd be out there, just sort of, like working and like farming and, running therapy groups. And it's a cool program. I learned a lot there. I actually got to go on a vision quest. So it's like they had, like, that was part of the program. It's like at the end, they'd build up to being able to go for 3 days and 3 nights without food, just a 5-gallon kind of jug of water and a pen and paper. And because I worked there, the people that worked there got to do that too. So that, talk about, running 100-mile or something, doing that was probably the hardest, like, physical thing I've done, physical and mental, really. You're just with your thoughts for 3 days and 3 nights. You don't really move from kind of like a 10 by 10 area. And it was pretty intense. So
I had no idea. I mean, I've heard it, when I listened to some of the Navy SEAL training stuff, because I know a few Navy SEALs and talk to them. It sounds real similar to that, where it's take away everything and what you're left with is you.
Yeah, pretty much. And it was like a whole process, like a several months process of kind of like, reflecting on certain things. And like when we got back from it, we told the story, and the story was like reflected back to us of kind of like what our own experience. And part of it, like we developed like an intent of like the life you want to live or the person you want to be. And kind of that's what you kind of is your inspiration when you're out there. You kind of fall back on like, oh, you got to be live up to your intent, kind of. So.
Oh, it sounds like something that people can individually do, but it helps to have a controlled environment in order to be able
definitely,
to do it.
yeah. I think that kind of is what makes the experience of it, is kind of other people are going through it too, but you're not around people, but you get to hear their story, and it kind of having it facilitated definitely makes it, kind of helps you reflect it and process it in a deeper way, I think.
So did you do any of the runs, any of the hurt runs and stuff over on Oahu when you?
Yeah. Actually, that was the first time I came to Hawaii. It was when I was 21, when I was in college, and I tried to do the Hurt 100 and dropped out at like mile 70. It was like,
oh.
And I didn't want to have anything to do with it for 10 years, and then I finished it like 2015 or something. So I finished that. It's just like a whole different beast over there.
Well, where were you going? You were going to college in Bend?
I went to college at Virginia Commonwealth University in Richmond, Virginia.
Oh, okay. Well, why? How did you transition from Virginia to Bend, Oregon?
Like as soon as I graduated, I moved. I drove across the country and went to Bend. Just something about, no real reason, just to go run in the mountains.
Oh yeah, the sisters are real special out there. I've spent some time out there too, by the Rogue and stuff.
Oh, the Rogue River, yeah, it's unreal.
So, did you do any rafting and stuff when you were there?
Yeah, I never did any rafting. No.
Oh yeah, that because I can still remember. Gosh, I was back there. That was back in 1970 and stuff when I was there. So yeah, a lot before you were born.
So no, I was a baker, so I didn't have any. So I was pretty much broke. I worked, from like 3 a.m. to 8 or 9 a.m, and then had the rest of the day just to go run. And I got into skiing a little bit, but I was pretty much broke, as making minimum wage living there.
So I used to work at the ARA bakery in Chicago in order to pay for college and stuff. So I worked in a bakery circumstance where I was the only haole there, and I made some great friendships, during my time there. But yeah, it's hard work.
It is. I love it. Do you still like to bake?
I would love to bake, but I'm looking at my place and I have a microwave and I have a hot air kind of cooker, and that's it. Oh, I lived in northern Minnesota, and I used to make bread. I used to make bagels on a wood stove.
Oh, wow. Bet those are good. You need to revive that.
Yeah, I miss the bagels, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And of course, I have to shout out to all my friends now who are posting the wonderful meals that they're creating as people are quarantined. It's
cool to see more people cooking. You don't realize how often people eat out. It's like
good to see dudes cooking. Yeah. Ladies got it all over us, but it's good to see the dudes cooking online.
I know. I love it. I love cooking and baking. It's just fun. It's just kind of relaxing, just to chop up vegetables, and you kind of know what you're putting in your body. It's a good thing.
So nutrition, do you have a specific nutrition? Did you back then when you were a baker and, living a free and easy life, which is not to say you're still not free and easy, but what kind of nutrition were you doing back then?
Back then it wasn't really, I guess, in the early 20s, it wasn't, I guess I couldn't afford, it's expensive to eat, somewhat healthy. It's kind of expensive to eat healthy. So then it was more, like I would just try to avoid sugar, like that's kind of always been my big things. Like I studied exercise science in college, so I've always been kind of like health conscious about what I eat, but then it wasn't. Like now I have things pretty dialed in. I feel like, and I'm pretty strict with myself most of the time. So, but then when you're poor, you can't afford the luxury of eating or all this, healthy, organic, natural foods and stuff.
I remember one semester in college, I basically lived on a 50-pound bag of potatoes, which at the time, nobody knew that was nutritional food for long distance races.
Yeah.
So
but now pretty much I just try to avoid sugars and hydrogenated oils pretty much, like the two things.
So it sounds like you were bulletproof before there was bulletproof.
Yeah, high fat. Like I kind of been high fat, low carb, like lower carb has kind of been what works for me. Like I notice if I start to eat a lot of like breads and things like that, I just feel kind of lethargic, and so I just kind of stick with what works. The higher fat has done me good. I can go for like a 4 or 5 hour run without eating much. So.
It's funny. I got a little grief from a friend of mine, Nina, about I had done a fast, like for a week because I wanted to clean out my system, and did a long run, or longish for me. And I had posted on Strava saying, I'm tired. She thought, why are you doing this self to you? And it was like, I can't really explain it.
I know it's like nutrition has become like a religion with some, like it's either this or that or that. It's like, it's just crazy. It's just like, just avoid sugar, and that, that would solve most of the health problems if people just didn't eat so much simple sugars.
Oh yeah, I lived one. I of course fell in love with a girl when I was at college, and went back home and spent the summer. I would run in the basement of our house, which was maybe 200 feet. I would run a mile every day in the basement, and
Jesus.
Yeah, it's like nowadays I see the people are posting their virtual online, running around the yard and stuff, and I was like, wait, I did that 50 years ago. And I stopped. All I was doing was rice and veggies. And
it's simple. Yeah, it works.
I have to watch it on the veggies though. How about you? Because sometimes if I have too many veggies and not enough protein, I kind of run out of gas.
No, I've got it pretty much, like I can eat a ton of veggies, and I cook them in coconut oil or olive oil usually. So kind of mix in the fat with it. But mostly, I'll eat meat maybe like once a week or once every other week. So.
Do you do coffee? Do you do caffeine?
Oh yeah, I drink coffee every day. Love it. Yeah.
This is from the 100% Kona, I think. Yeah, the 100% Kona.
There's just something about the smell of it, the taste of it. It just seems so natural, and just the ritual of drinking it every morning. Like I look forward. Like at night, I look forward to waking up in the morning to drink coffee the next day. That's
yeah, and we're blessed. We're in probably the best coffee area in the world, I think.
Yeah, the Kona coffee, Kau coffee, like it's can't get any better than that.
Kauai coffee. I even do Kauai coffee because I've done. Have you ever done Kauai Marathon?
No, I've never been over there for that.
Oh, you should maybe try it. I talked Bree Brown into it a few years ago. Yeah. And it's the hardest marathon of all the island just the marathons.
Is the elevation gain or?
Yeah, mile 18 has a Koloko hill from 18 to 21. Ooh. And wow. It's the wrong time of the race to have an 18 to 21 race.
Man, that sounds fun.
The people are great though. I talked to Amy about this last week too. The people are great. They do they have drummers, they have halals dancing. Their aid stations are just great. And as far as scenery goes, boy, Kauai I think has got the most scenic marathon course that there is.
Wow. Yeah, I'll have to do it whenever it's going to be happening again. Maybe not this year, maybe next year.
What? No plans to do Hurt again?
No, no plans to do that ever again. Hopefully.
So how was the time you Did you feel, goal accomplished when you
Yeah,
completed it?
my only goal was just to finish it and, kind of keep moving. That was the only goal. So I finished it. It was like, yes, it was like the best feeling ever.
You've done Kau, haven't you? Kau half marathon?
Half marathon, yes. I love that. Yeah, me and Alex were just out there the other day running, kind of biking around. We biked from Volcano down into Wood Valley and through around there. And that kind of reminded us we need to go back out there and run some up there in those hills.
So biking, yeah, I've noticed that you have been biking. Were you a biker back in the day, or?
I mountain biked a little bit, but now, like here, like the time is kind of with biking. It's like time has been like the biggest constraint. Now I have all day, so it's like I'm loving the riding.
Are you you're pretty much on a gravel kind of bike, mountain bike?
Yeah, on a gravel bike, yeah. So it's just fun, around here with like the roads being in disrepair, and I just feel more sturdy on the gravel bike too.
Yeah, I did. I don't know. I think you noticed I did we had the Captain Cook Challenge, did not go off this year because of circumstances. And I used the old Fuji bike that I got, which weighs like 85 pounds to do 28 miles. And I was riding in circles up by Mono Road. And it was like, oh, good heavens. And flat pedals, but it's got a triple. So at least I had gears.
Yeah, I love the Captain Cook Challenge. I've done that a couple times. That's so unique. It's such a cool event.
Did you do it back in the day when you used to have to put your shoes in a bag and actually carry them with you?
No. That would be interesting. Swimming across the bay with shoes on.
Yeah, they used to do it so that you had to actually carry it. It wasn't that you had your shoes dropped off to do the trail part.
Yeah.
What was the first race that you can remember doing on the Big Island?
On the Big Island, maybe might have been the Macathon, the 10K Macathon.
A deceptively hard race.
Yeah, it is. It's such a cool, like I love with the pancakes at the end, and it's just a fun time. You get to jump in the water. I'm bummed that it got canceled this year.
Yeah, I did. And once again, I did my virtual Macathon up on Mono Road stuff, trying to still keep up with the races. But what was the first law? You've done Hilo a whole bunch too. Technically it's the Big Island International Marathon.
Yeah, but I think I've done that 4 times. So
in fact, I think that's what. Oh yeah, that's the shirt.
Yeah, there it is, the Big Island. Yeah, that's a pretty hilly marathon. That's a hilly marathon.
Well, it's funny. It's changed because remember back in the day when it was they bussed us out to the school.
Yep, that was the first year I did it, and then it changed after that.
Yeah, it's certainly harder now, but still, it is pretty scenic too. Back when you're back by the botanical garden and stuff, it's gorgeous back there.
Love that area.
And you guys, I see all the runs that you guys are doing where the posts are, the photos are just amazing. Have you ever been into photography and stuff? I mean,
yeah, I'm into photography a lot. I have, I used to be into film photography a lot until my camera got stolen, and now it's just kind of, I have like a point and shoot that I take. It's waterproof. So.
Somebody stole your camera?
And I've had like parking at trailheads here like I think 3 times. My car's been broken into, and then when I lived in Mountain View, my house got broken into, and pretty much everything stolen. So
fresh start, yeah.
Exactly. But now I own a house in Volcano here, so I have it fortified a little bit more with a gate and security cameras and stuff. So.
Well, rumor has it that you have a guard dog too.
A ferocious husky.
I have never seen pictures. I didn't realize it. Is it a husky?
Yeah, she's a husky mix, and we think maybe border collie or something. But she's adorable and really sweet. So she's not going to be a good guard dog. But
now, I used to have I had a key sound a few years ago and stuff, which they're like a small version of a husky and stuff. Do you ever shave her or?
No, I think we have to take her running, every day, or else she's just off the wall with energy. So we take her like 4 to 7 miles each day, or else she's crazy. But I've heard that shaving them is like bad, since their skin is like really pink and light, that it'd be bad to shave them because they could get burned easy.
Yeah. I used to do it with the key sound and stuff. At the time I was dating a hairdresser, or not a hairdresser, a dog groomer.
Oh my God.
who was actually an ex-girlfriend of Jack Nicholson.
Oh gee.
Long story, but she did it first time, and in fact, some of the photos I have shows Cam with a mohawk.
Jeez. Yeah.
Now there might be a hair challenge out there. I don't know if you've noticed Patrick Stover has grown his hair out.
Oh man. Yeah, I'm always growing. Like I feel kind of like more like myself with like long hair. So I think I go through cycles where I'll grow it out really long and then cut it short and then grow it out long. And, like I just feel like at school, I'm a teacher, so it's kind of, I feel like a bum if my hair gets too long. And I can't show up to a meeting with a parent like,
well, you could, but
yeah, gotta keep it somewhat professional, I guess.
Well, you're a teacher. Wait, now what's this? Again.
Yeah, this is my eighth year teaching. So,
what do you teach?
Special education. So right now I'm at YKA Intermediate, so sixth grade, special education.
That's a big school too.
It is.
That's the one thing I miss with our bike ed program being going. I miss being around. We teach 4th and 5th graders and stuff. How's that? Are you doing online still teaching?
Right now, yeah. Right now it's kind of like online. It's not really teaching. It's more just like providing some activities for them to do, and and most of them choose not to do it. So, but that's just how it is for the rest of this school year, at least.
Yeah. I don't think there's advantages to it. I think it's great that the adults have learned how to do online stuff.
Yeah, so I've been having lots of meetings. We have lots of meetings through Zoom and stuff like that. So that's what we've been doing. But I still have lots of free time, which I enjoy. So.
Well, have you? Let's see. If I remember correctly, you and Alex did. And I suppose I should mention Alex Luck as your fiance.
That's right. Yeah.
And I'm sure she'll take more credit for walking the dog than you will. But
I don't know about that.
You guys went to. I think this year they call it Across the Decades. It's the Across the Years race.
Oh yeah, Across the Years.
How was that?
It was cool. So like I kind of been interested in that format of it's a 1 mile loop and run however many miles you can in 24 hours. So I was hoping to run 140, 150 miles, but that didn't happen. So.
Well, why not? What happened?
I don't know. I was feeling amazing until like around mile 70, and then it just kind of the wheels fell off, and it was like brutal. It was freezing cold. That's not an excuse, but it was freezing cold, and that just like mentally, I was just kind of done. It was like after I made it to 100 miles, and was like I'm done. But I'm definitely disappointed. I want to do another kind of 24-hour run and kind of try to get some more miles.
Well, that's Jamil Curry's race, I think.
Yeah, there's I can never say Avarapia or Avaripa.
Yeah.
So
Avaripa, yeah.
Yeah, I love. Yeah, he's like that's a great kind of organization that puts on runs. I also have done Javelina, which they put on, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, you remember when I was talking about doing Javelina and you kind of clued me in, but gosh almighty, the entry fees have gone up so much.
Yeah, I know. But Across the Years, that was pretty cool. I hope to do another one somewhere, but maybe not there, but somewhere 24-hour run and just see how many miles I can rack up.
Well, it was. I had actually run into our good friend Sylvia the weekend that you guys were doing that, and I saw her on Mono Road, and we stopped and talked for quite a while, and I was expressing my FOMO, fear of missing out, because you guys were there, and I wanted so bad to go there, but I was kind of going, you know, I can't quite do it. Can't quite, you know, I don't know if I can afford it. She looked me right in the eye and said, let's do it. Let's go to the airport. Let's get on a flight. Let's go do it. And totally serious. If I had said yes, she would have said, well, Mark and Tiffany, I'll see you. You know, we're going to go do this race. Oh, I ran into Mark too on the road and stuff a couple days ago and stuff. And I asked him how he's doing, and you know, because their school is closed to HPA, and he said that they're doing okay. And Tiffany gets to swim because he can use the pool up at HPA, so she's still getting in there and doing stuff, which is great to hear, actually.
Yeah.
Amazing little kid, amazing family. So what was one of the races, maybe on the mainland? I hate to ask people about a bad experience at the race. We always have horrible experiences at races, you know, because of the stupidity. Can you pick out a couple of races that you really had a great time at and they kind of fulfilled, you know, we all have expectations. They fulfilled your expectations going into the race.
I mean, I guess when it, like really any, like I never have like, oh, I need to do this or else I'll be happy. You know, it's like, I don't really care. Like races have always been like something I don't really, you know, like I'm not really that competitive, like competitive natured. So kind of races I've always kind of like reluctantly done maybe, you know, if that makes sense. I've always just kind of been like, oh yeah, I'm in, you know, I feel like I'm in decent shape. So I might as well jump into this event. But I never really have like a desired outcome, or if I get this, I'm happier. If I don't do this, I won't be happy. So it's always kind of been like, oh, let's see what happens. It's like kind of the mystery of it. That's one thing I really love about running is just the mystery of it. And so that's like kind of with 100 milers. I never feel like I've had like a good one. Every time it's been like, oh man, I got my ass kicked. Like what happened? Like how can I do this better next time? But it's always been the same thing. The wheels always fall off and it's a debacle. So I want to kind of just keep trying it until I feel like I figured it out or something, you know?
I think that's the attraction for me and a lot of other people I know is that part of the experience, starting out with, you might have some expectations, but it's like, you know, it's going to be a journey and you know that you're going to run into things that hopefully, to be honest, that you'll run into something you didn't expect during a race.
It's guaranteed to happen. Yeah.
Sometimes they are good things that you didn't expect. You know, for me, it's
just fulfilling to kind of hit a tough point and then move past it, and then afterwards be like, oh yeah, I did something. You know, I struggled at something. I met, you know, and like it's just kind of a fulfilling experience to have. For me, that's kind of what I get out of it the most. Is just fulfilling to kind of do something hard and challenging.
Well, what are some of the favorite areas on? Let's start. We'll just keep it to the mainland. On the mainland that you've loved to been able to go out and run.
Oh, I think the Northwest, like the red, like Oregon, all the way down to like Northern California redwoods, like that whole area with Crater Lake and the Umpqua River. It's just like, it's magical. There's hot springs and you're running around Crater Lake and then seeing the redwoods and then the Pacific Ocean and the Lost Coast. Like it's just like a kind of a dreamland. Yeah.
What about that? Did you do much stuff on Pacific Crest Trail?
No, I haven't really. Let's see. I've been on the part of the John Muir Trail in Yosemite. That whole part of the country is just. I'd love to spend months there. You know.
So, given a choice between desert and mountain,
it's so hard. Like I feel like I feel like a really strong connection to the desert. Like I love. Like in October, me and Alex went to the Grand Canyon to run that, like rim to rim to rim. And that, like, I love spending time in the desert. Even like, that's kind of like my house. Our house is like painted, like, you know, desert. It's like the colors are very desert-like. And, you know, so it's like, I love both. I can't say like, you know, mountain, desert, ocean. It's like, I love all of them equal.
Yeah, when I was in Aspen and stuff, we used to take kids out to, I was lucky to take kids to a couple of places. Havasupai Indian Reservation, if you've never been there. you know.
I had giant pictures of them up on the wall, the Havasu Falls. That's been one of the coolest, my favorite places I've ever been.
So you've been there, yeah?
Oh yeah, yeah. I love it. I've camped out there and actually got caught in the flash flood and had to take a helicopter ride out. So
Oh wow, yeah. It's so. I went down there with high school kids. You know, George Burson and I. He was a teacher at the school and stuff. We took as part of their senior trip. We took him down there for a week.
wow, oh that would be. It's just magical. Yeah.
Oh, it's hard to explain. It's something that needs to be protected, obviously. And I know it's harder and harder to get permits to go there and stuff. But it is one of the wonders of the world, I think.
It really is just the way that turquoise water just kind of juts out of the, desert landscape. It's like a dream. It's a dream. Yeah.
And then I was also lucky. A friend of mine, his dad was the head of the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and we used to go out to Moab, and this was the early '70s, late '60s, no, early '70s. When we were going out there, when there were no bikers out there, there was nobody. There was Jeepers and us. And that desert is so special too. I can still remember running out there doing I did a 75 and a 100-mile run on the White Rim Trail. And now Candace Burt, Candace is doing, the 200-milers there.
Whew. Yeah, I've never been to that part of Utah. I'd love to go. I think this summer we're planning on having a big road trip across the country.
Oh, highly recommended. If you can make it to Moab, it's kind of, it's got a lot of gearheads now and stuff, but it's still, there's places out there like you were talking about being very calm and feeling, that you're in an element that you're enjoying in the water. Same thing out there. Those rocks are special.
And then we went to a place, let's see, in October called Buckskin Gulch. Have you ever heard of that?
No.
I don't know if it's in Arizona or Utah or it's on the border, but it's like these slot canyons. And it was kind of one of those places. It's pretty magical too.
Well, that'll be great if you guys can. I did remember that you guys had an opportunity to kind of travel around and stuff. Yeah. Is there any other place on the mainland I know you're not a racer person and stuff, but is there anything would you want to do? I don't know if you've done Western States. Would you want to do Western States?
No, I don't think Western States. Maybe Leadville. I'd like to do Leadville. I love that course and just the town of Leadville is really cool and unique. So that's kind of the one that I'd love to do.
Yeah, Leadville, that used to be our summer trips because when I was living in Aspen, Independence Pass was closed all winter, obviously. But then as soon as it would open up, we'd go over to Leadville and stuff. And Leadville back then was an amazing little place, and I'm sure it still is. I'd love to go back and visit and stuff. I don't think I could probably I think I could do the 100. I don't know if I'd finish it under, the cutoff or anything, but it's not that technical.
Yeah, just to get used to getting acclimated to the altitude. But we have a good place to practice here. So.
At Manaa Road, it's, just under 3,000 feet is where I started out.
On the other side, 7,000 feet. So it's a cool. And then you got R1, it's at 9,000 to 10,000 feet. So it's.
Speaking of R1, we were supposed to have a race, 50K, 50-miler there, which because of circumstances, is it delayed or is it next year we're going to do it?
We're still kind of trying to figure it out. So it was just getting the permits where it was a crazy process, and they changed the dates on us a couple of times, but just getting the permits was like, that's kind of what we've known all along is just like, that's why there's not a lot of events here on the, like trail events on the island, because it's so damn impossible to get a permit on those. And, but Alex got the permits, and so we were kind of excited to have the 50-mile, 50K. And just one of the cool things was that so many people that would have been in their first ultra signed up, which is really cool to see. And that was kind of one of my favorite parts about it was there's so many people that would have been their first ultra.
Yeah, trying to do it. I know for a few people it was going to be their first 50-miler.
Yeah. So it's kind of going to be postponed till, maybe not in the fall. It seems like there's going to be already a ton of events in the fall or whenever things open up. So maybe we might just keep it till the next spring. We don't really know. We don't really know yet, but we definitely want to make it happen.
Yeah, and as you know, here it's a matter of the permitting and stuff. It's not like there's a month where the weather would be too bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
I've noticed there's a lot more people on R1 now.
It's a great place to run. It's spectacular. You know, it's kind of like being up on HawaiiUltra in the craters on there. You know, on parts of it, it's wide open views with the red cinder cones. I mean, it's a stunning landscape.
Did you ever do Run to the Sun?
I never did that when it was a race, but I've done the Sea to Summit HawaiiUltra before. So
Well, that's a little bit farther, isn't it?
yeah, I think the race might start in Kahului, but I started in like Paia.
Yeah, Sean Blanton, the run bum, he was trying to set it up last year to do it, and then it didn't happen. And then Hurt was going to try and do it. They were getting the permits, but then couldn't get the final permits, so they had to call it off. And then they were going to try again.
Yeah, I mean the national park, it's near, you know, it's damn near impossible for them to confirm an event, you know.
And are we still on for another Hurt race, which is actually from on here on the Big Island, the Hilo to Waimea?
Yeah. I mean, we're still kind of wait and see with that, but we feel like, I mean, now it's like a self-supported run anyway, so that could be easily staggered, you know. So that's kind of it's a simple run to do.
Well, what are you guys calling it? The Under the Moonlight or the Moonlight
Under
Run?
the Moon, yeah, because it's going to start at night. I think that'd be a cool experience to start that at night. You know, be little traffic, just being on the saddle at night would be a cool experience. Full moon, and just the history of it too. It's where like that was like an event Kavika used to put on. I mean, you know, like I came across some old stories like online somewhere like that he used to put on. He was the race director and would drive by like smoking a cigarette and like hand out donuts to people and stuff. So it's just a cool. It would be cool to kind of keep that event going.
So tell people we're talking about Kavika Spalding,
Yeah.
and tell a bit of Kavika's story if you can.
Well, I just know him from the Macathon. It's kind of where I first came across him, and he's just like he's got a big beard. He runs barefoot a lot, and he's kind of done a run where every year he goes up Mauna Loa, down up Mauna Kea, down the backside up Hualalai, and he does it over the course of like several days. But he doesn't stop, and he says, one year he got arrested at Pohakaloa in the military. They arrested him with like whiskey, and I think he might have had like a joint on him or something. So it's like he just does these crazy trips with like whiskey and weed, So it's it's pretty cool guy.
He's run Western States,
yeah.
because a good friend of mine, Mike Rouse, told me a story of where Mike was doing Western States too, and he got up to the Plateau aid station, one of the Mesa aid station there, and he saw this guy sitting on a log, total true story about Kavika, drinking Jack Daniels.
Yeah.
And he offered some to Mike, and Mike said, "Oh, nope, I'll pass on that." So then Mike took off running, and next thing he knows, Kavika is catching up to him. And as he's running past, he notices that Kavika is rolling a joint as he's running past.
Like you can't make that stuff up, man. He's
true story, And yeah, Kavika is still
a hero. Yeah.
Well, that's one of the special things about Macathon too that we missed this year because we had to cancel it and stuff.
So it's just kind of cool to continue the tradition of putting on that run. It's something he put on in the early '90s, and it'd be cool to kind of revive it,
And then it's going to reverse, right? So one year it's from Hilo to Waimea. Next year it's from Waimea to Hilo.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah.
And then there's, if I remember correctly, there's also a run that has some wine involved, I think.
Oh yeah, so there's the Volcano Winery, and so Alex got a cool course put together with Alex Wood, who's a runner here that who works at the winery, and they came up with kind of a cool 1 mile loop out there on the winery property, which is like adjacent to the national park, and it would just be a cool event, like winery and run in, and it's kind of like the 1 mile loop, and you pick your, there's like a 6 hour, a 5K, it's kind of, just kind of be unique, just trying to do something unique.
Wait, can I bring my usual drink of choice here?
Oh, of course. Yeah. Yeah, bring some to share.
Oh, of course. And so we still have some races still scheduled. I know that Keely and Adam just canceled out the Ohia half marathon.
Shame.
Yeah, that's too bad. The Kona Marathon, at Waikoloa, Brent's website still doesn't show that it's canceled, and that's mid-June.
Mid-June, yeah, they probably still wait and see, but it's probably not. I guess it doesn't seem like it's a good idea with everything in the news and stuff. So.
And then Kauai canceled. Kauai Marathon's always on Labor Day weekend and stuff. Oh no, Kauai hasn't canceled. Maui Marathon, the old Maui Marathon that they moved to October, that one they've canceled it and just gonna try and do it next year and stuff.
Yeah, it's just a wait and see for everything, really. For life, really. Most people's jobs. Like I feel fortunate that I'm still getting paid, and with such a majority of the country out of work and on unemployment and things in limbo, it's like I feel pretty fortunate. Yeah,
we said, what's gas in your neck of the woods? How much is gas?
Whew, like $4 something.
Say, why man? $3.99 still.
Yeah. Yeah. What happened to the oil crash?
Costco, $2.59.
Oh wow. Whew.
And it now makes the drive to Costco to get gas. It makes sense.
Exactly. Yeah, luckily I haven't had to drive that much. I don't have to, make the commute into Hilo every day. So it's been nice.
And I know Alex, that she kind of prides herself on that, where, not using a vehicle.
Yeah, she doesn't have a car. So like bike and by foot.
And you guys, I know, you're engaged and all that good stuff. And I asked her during the broadcast with her, so when's the wedding? And you guys are going to put it off till like next year, and when things get.
No, the wedding was going to be in June. On June 20th, we're going to have the wedding in the Gila Wilderness in New Mexico. And now I think we're just going to have something smaller. Like we kind of came to the decision that getting our friends and family like gathered, is probably not a good idea with, with everything going on and for the health and sake of them. So we just kind of decided on maybe having something small. And so we're still going to get married in June, but just something smaller.
Is your brother still on the mainland? Yeah.
Yeah. My brother's in Virginia Beach.
Oh.
So he's back.
Family, mom and dad still around? I don't even know.
Yeah. My parents live in Virginia Beach still, the same house that I grew up in. So.
I keep forgetting you've done so much as certainly as an athlete and runner and stuff that I'll be honest with you. Somebody asked me, I think Jono, from Lava People, he says, well, how old is Billy? And I said, Billy's got to at least be in his late 40s.
Yeah.
Sorry, dude.
Yeah, I just turned 36. So.
New age group.
That's right. So yeah, it feels good. I love to just be doing, like I love traveling. I love just doing things. So it's, I guess crammed a lot in, and I feel fortunate. So.
How did you and Alex meet? I don't even know. I mean, the first time I saw you guys together, I don't know if you remember, was on Mana Road. You guys had just finished, and I think somehow I got the impression that Alex had a 13-year-old kid. And
that does it. We met from we were doing a Sea to Summit Mauna Kea run with Bree and Jacob and Patrick Stover, and I guess Bree and Alex knew each other, and Alex was coming over for that, and that's how we met.
Oh wow! I did not realize that.
Yeah.
we can blame Bree once again, or we can credit Bree, I should say.
Yeah, definitely credit.
Because same thing with Sarah, because I interviewed Sarah and Patrick.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, she introduced them. So.
Introduced them, and then they got to know each other kind of on Instagram, which I didn't realize.
Yeah. So yeah, Alex came over for that, and I guess the rest is history.
Yeah, she came over for that and never left, right?
Yeah, pretty much. But that's fun. That's a fun one to do. There's so many cool adventures to do just here on the island. That there's just so many kind of iconic places to run and unique. And there's desert, rainforest, mountain. There's just so much cool stuff to do here. Yeah.
Yeah, I still want to see if somehow we can get together. And the last time I talked to Sylvia was about her plan. She called it SHIT. Sylvia's Hawaii Island Traverse.
Oh, wow. So how does that, where does it start and end?
She wanted to start down at Waipio Valley and run to Mauna Kea.
Oh, people just biked that recently.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because when I talked to Mark, you can actually, on Mauna Road, if you go, you can run from Waipio Valley up to Waimea, Mauna Road up to R9, and then R9 connects with R1.
Yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. There's like, and they cut through, the people that biked it went up from Waipio Valley, cut through Mud Lane, and then went up to Mauna Road, and then up to the Mauna Kea access road up to the summit.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I got to find out. Have you noticed in your adventures out on the road now, I noticed even today, I saw somebody from Kona walking their dogs out on Mauna Road, which was like, wait a minute. Have you noticed in your neighborhood and stuff that there's obviously probably more people.
There's people I've never even seen before that even knew that this many people lived around here. Everyone's out. It's a good thing, I guess, that people don't have to go to work, so they're out walking around with kids, with their dogs. And yeah, it's like I had no idea that this many people lived in the neighborhood.
And then Amy she qualified for, Amy Young qualified for Boston, and obviously Boston is not canceled but delayed, and so she went ahead and on Monday ago she did a virtual Boston.
Oh, geez. Wow.
In her neighborhood. I'm sorry.
Wow.
Oh, I'm getting messages from this somebody called Alex Luck on Messenger. Alex, if you're there, just stick your head in.
Oh,
sorry, I was just sending you the GPS file for that route you were talking about, so you could see all the elevation and stuff, since someone's already mapped it all out.
Yeah. Oh, excellent.
But I'll let you guys talk. I was just in the background and heard you mention it, so I thought I'd send it to you.
Yeah, definitely. Billy, Alex, and I think we'll get together and stuff. Billy, do you have a coach, or do you coach people?
No. I've never I guess I was a personal trainer in college. So kind of like it's in my background a little bit, but it's something that I've always thought of running as just something like personal, and so not really, But I've never had a coach or anything like that. I'm too stubborn to listen to advice. So I don't know. I'll listen to Alex's advice though. We kind of talk about ideas a lot, which is really cool, about like nutrition and different runs. So it's kind of cool to bounce ideas off of each other like that. But as far as anything like formal or anything like that, no.
For your nutrition on a run, what would be your normal nutrition out on a run?
Nothing. So, so if anything under 4, and anything, I guess I've always had this kind of rule, like if it's under 4 hours, then I won't take any water or food. But if it's over 4 hours, I'll take a water bottle or wear a vest or something. But
PB&J?
No, usually it's like maybe banana chips and almonds or something like that. Something kind of more fat than carbohydrate. That's probably why I'm so stubborn that I always crash around mile 70 and 100s, and it's probably because my refusal to kind of do anything, anything like take any gels or anything like that.
No, I mean that's you. You're ahead of the curve, I think, in a lot of the training and stuff that people are starting to realize that they need to do now.
Yeah, when I was in college, I read Arthur Lydiard, which he was kind of one of the first proponents of like running slow to get fast, pretty much like just a higher volume at a slower pace. And that's always kind of kept me injury free. Is like never running hard, like just going out and doing easy runs or easy bike rides, and I never kind of get my heart rate up past a certain point, really.
Yeah, and yeah, I mean, back in the day, it was called LSD, long slow
LSD,
distance.
yeah. Exactly, that's what it is, LSD. Yeah.
What'd she say?
Both forms of LSD. Yeah, both are part of my training plan.
Let me tell you about being out in Canyonlands and taking peyote and running.
Oh, man.
And we used to do both kinds. There was, back in the day, there was dried peyote, which you'd always throw up because it's got strychnine in it, you know, in the middle and stuff. And we did fresh peyote and stuff too. It was we'll talk about it someday.
Yeah, I think the world would be a better place if more people went on at least one trip of some sort in their life. Yeah.
Yeah, and some of our friends, I think now, like right now, need to go on a trip.
I know. Yeah, people that are in their head all the time and kind of neurotic and obsessed about things, like just go on a trip and you're not in control. You're not going to be in control for the most part, so it'll just be a good experience.
And I mean, I think that's one thing that's attractive about ultra running and stuff is that there are times you realize you're not in control.
Exactly, And it's kind of like Plato's, like the cave allegory too. Like we base our truths on what we see and what we hear, but that could all just be shadows and an illusion.
Neo. The Matrix.
Yeah.
So injuries. Now, you mentioned that you've been pretty injury-free. Have you ever gotten any injuries that you can remember that were significant?
When I first started running, when I was 18, I had a stress fracture in my ankle just from doing, just because I didn't know anything about it. I thought every run you're supposed to go out and run as hard as you could. And if I felt good at the end of a run, I would keep going until I was like keeled over. And I had a stress fracture in my ankle. And then since then, I've never had an injury. So just the kind of the slow runs is like key. I feel like is just kind of I never get my heart rate above like 180 minus age, and that's something that a guy named Phil Maffetone kind of came up with. That he's a big proponent of the kind of lower intensity, higher volume.
And what's the supplement that he puts out?
LSD? No, I don't know.
I think he's
I don't think he puts out a supplement that I know of, Maffetone.
I might be confusing him with somebody else and stuff, probably.
Yeah, so he's like a big proponent of he's done research since the early 80s. So I'm kind of like a geek about like the reason. Like I love reading research articles about exercise, nutrition, altitude effects. So I came across him years ago, and it's like kind of the one. It just made a lot of sense. It really resonated with kind of with my philosophy. So.
Well, I bet you and Alec or John Kelly would probably get along really good if you don't know John.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever.
Yeah, John finished Barkley a couple years ago. He was one of the few people who finished Barkley, and he was a triathlete and stuff. But John is down, as best as I can understand. He has charts and stuff that he really tries to analyze nutrition and stuff before a race.
Oh. Yeah, and it makes a lot of sense. Just the low intensity and kind of lower carb. They kind of go hand in hand. And it's like you train your body to kind of not to need less and to be more efficient. I feel like so.
And so, what kind of equipment besides, people that know okay, you got a pair of shorts on, that's it, and a pair of socks. You got a particular shoe you've been running in lately?
Usually I just run whatever the cheapest thing I can find is. I've been going with the Brooks Caldera just because it's kind of good for road and trail, and it's I got it for like $50 or $60, And I have a pair of those, and I have a pair of Luna sandals that I like to kind of go for easy runs in. And besides that, that's it.
Yeah, I keep looking at my times, whether I'm running in shoes or running in the Lunas, and like I'm not that much slower in the Lunas.
Yeah, I've run a 5K in the Lunas before, and it's the same, same as wearing shoes. So
I did Kauai Marathon and the 100% Kona did a marathon last year. I did both those in the Lunas. Slow, but
well, it's fun. It's fun running in them. It's just a different feel.
So I mean that you would be just like Kendra. Kendra Ignacio, because she goes to Ross to find her shoes, basically.
Yeah, that works. Like that's.
What kind of a vest do you have? You have a Solomon vest, don't you? Or
I think I have not an Ultimate Direction, but a Nathan vest.
Oh, yeah.
And so I like it for longer runs. Like we're gonna go. I think we're gonna go to Waipio to Waimanu tomorrow, so I'll probably wear it for that.
Oh, okay.
So I've done it before with just one of those straws. And my parents sent me one of those like filter straws. So if you run got down in the rivers, drinking water, but it's
life straw, I think. Yeah.
A life straw. Yeah. So I think I'll carry some more water this time. It can get pretty humid out there.
But no food, huh?
I'll take maybe a corn tortilla. Like we've gotten into making tortillas lately, so maybe I'll take a corn tortilla with some peanut butter or something.
Well, this is a tip. This is a tip from Sean Blanton. The run bum. He did the Florida Trail. He did the entire. There's a trail that goes through this entire state of Florida, and since we are in our crisis and stuff here, it kind of is relevant because he did not have any toilet paper at a certain point on the trail, but he did have a tortilla.
Oh man, no. Yeah, multi-use. So yeah.
Natural. Do you have any horror stories? Not necessarily horror for you, but out on the trail, like running into a bear or running into a snake or anything?
I'm trying to think. I've been pretty lucky to never really have anything, too unfortunate or crazy happen. Besides just like bonking and having to like suffer like, death march for 3 hours or things like that. That's kind of common, but other than that, I've never really, nothing too crazy has happened.
No, as they call it in the ultra world, no neckties out on the trail there. The vomit time.
No, I've been pretty lucky with that. I never had any like stomach. I never puked or anything like that. But I guess maybe in Mexico, going on a hike and coming across a bunch of people with machine guns and a big marijuana plantation. That's kind of something that doesn't happen every day. So.
Well, that'll be Billy Barnett interview part 2.
Yeah.
we can talk about that whole part of your life and stuff.
Yeah.
No, it's funny. Adam, Keely and Adam, and I tried to talk them into doing the Born to Run. Your buddy and my buddy, Luis Escobar's little adventure in California at the Chamberlain Ranch. And Adam was not keen on it because there's snakes.
Oh my! You don't see. They're not. There's so many people there that the snakes are going to be long gone. That's a fun time. I went there several years ago to do that. It's pretty fun.
That's right. Yeah, that's a great place. He's changing the course though. Apparently, it's still going to be on the Chamberlain Ranch. He had to change the date. It was supposed to be next month in May, and he changed it to October. Which is right around Ironman time. So, I'm the RD for the path runs and stuff. So I don't know if I'll be able to go in October, but it's really nice out there and it's really old style.
Yeah. Like Lewis shoots off a gun and it's just, it's a good, unique event.
Well, that and I've told this before about being out at when Sylvia and I went and did Rocky Raccoon in Texas. Being out in the dark by myself, you know, trudging along on the trail, running along, and from the darkness I hear as somebody is just throwing up.
Yeah.
Wild animals, look out.
Yeah. Yeah, there's just so many cool events out there. You know, it's hard to choose, or, you know, it's hard. Like, I want to do everything. I want to go visit everywhere. Yeah.
Well, that's where we all need to win a van on the mainland and just go van camping to take 1 year off, go van camping to all the different races on the mainland.
I know. I've been obsessed the past, you know, several years with the Balkans, you know, the kind of Eastern European region of the world. And I really want to go over there to like Albania, Kosovo, Serbia, Bosnia. And it's just, I've been, you know, just obsessed with it. So I've been watching reading every book, watching every movie that has to do with it. And that's kind of been one of my big kind of dreams, is to go over there. And there's a trail called Peak of the Balkans that goes through a lot of the countries, and you can stay in like, you know, different little villages along the way. And it's just kind of it just seems like unspoiled mountains, you know, mountains and rivers and just beautiful fresh food and wine and the rakia, the plum brandy they drink over there. So it's just,
oh wow.
Hopefully I can get over there somewhat soon. Maybe a honeymoon.
Hint, hint. Yeah, I was in Nepal, in India and Nepal in 1973.
Oh, wow.
And it was, you know, I hiked up to base camp on Everest and stuff there, and, you know, did a lot of trekking and running there. And that's what I liked about it. It's just that you go to these places that you can only get there by foot, and the people are just universally show aloha, just like we have here on the Big Island and stuff.
Wow. And so what did you think of India?
I was I had actually started in Europe, started in Italy, went to visit the relatives, and I hooked up with a guy who was an associate editor for Newsweek, and we ended up going to places like Beirut, Tehran.
Wow, in the 70s. Wow, that'd be cool.
Up northern India and Pakistan, and just going to the
Khyber, that's a dream to go to Pakistan.
The Khyber Pass and all these places that, you know, I was 26 years old, and it was just it was great. But the thing I remember about it are the people, you know. And no matter which country you were in, the people were always just really, really special. And Lewis now he's got this,
Bhutan.
Yeah, in Bhutan, you know, where he's putting on a 250 miler or something like that.
Wow, that'd be amazing to go over there. Because that's pretty closed off to the world. Do you have to have like someone from the country, like a government official with you or something, right? Like,
yeah,
you can't just go visit there on your own time, I don't think.
He started another podcast. He dropped one podcast that he used to do, but he's just started a new podcast about the Bhutan and stuff like that. So, you know, I'm going to try and eventually catch up on that. Yeah, when I went to India in order to get into Nepal, you had to get a visa in India, in New Delhi, and I paid for it with Eisenhower coins,
wow.
which I had brought, and I had to convince them that it was really money.
Yeah.
No, this is actually better than dollar bills.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Did you drink any yak milk? That's something I've always wanted to try.
Yak milk, you know, all kinds of the fermented alcoholic drinks that they had there, and we even I was traveling with a Swiss girl named Heidi at the time, and we actually smuggled a girl across the border into Nepal. because there were back ways that you could get in by just taking a hand cart, a pull cart and stuff. Yeah. Oh yeah. Back in the day, it was, there weren't permits so much as what they call back there is bakshish.
Oh, wow.
Well, it's the same thing, same on the Big Island too. You guys ran into it with trying to get the permits and stuff for the 50 mile or 50K, right?
Exactly. You know, there's so much. That's kind of one thing about here that it's like there's so much land. There's so many beautiful places that have like gates and, you know, no, you can't go here, you can't go there. Bishop Estates, you know, it's like we got yelled at recently by, you know, we were out just on Mauna Loa and there was like some ranchers that got pretty angry. You know, you can't be back here. And it was, and come to find out, it's national parkland. You know, they were just kind of being crazy. You know?
Yeah, I mean, I've noticed an uptick in people being a little bit on edge.
Yeah, that's true. People are stressed, but still, I'm kind of from the thought that open spaces should be enjoyed. You know, public lands. You know, it's like the state leases the land out to the ranchers, and they feel like they own the land. You know, it's like anyone should be able to just go. You know, we're not going for a run is not doing any harm or doing anything. It's just kind of enjoying the beautiful space. It's not. You know, so to get kind of yelled, it's happened a lot over the years. Just getting, you know, chased off of areas. It's like, but that's where the stubbornness comes in. I refuse to, you know, I'm going to go run somewhere beautiful 100%, you know, all the time. Cause I'm not gonna, oh, there's a gate there. I can't go back there. You know, it's like, come on, just because someone has cows back there, like the cows are doing a lot of damage. You know, they're the ones eating all the vegetation and stuff. So.
No, I mean, I definitely see that. I mean, we're blessed here to have beach access,
yeah,
you know, through any property, essentially, you know, where you can get to beach. You know, same thing, I think, you know, fortunately, Mountain Road it's a county road, so, you know, they're not really going to stop you there. And there's places up there where really there's been nobody up there for years.
I know. It's cool, and there's you know, they say like Hualalai, that's Bishop Estates. You're not supposed to go up to the summit of Hualalai, and then you kind of do more research into it, and you see that like they have the biggest endowment, you know, like the Bishop Estates command schools, like billions of dollars endowment. It's like, what? That just seems like corruption to me. So.
Well, and because you see it on the education level too, on where, you know. I mean, Waiakea hopefully has good funding and resources and stuff, but a lot of times I see friends of mine, like teachers and stuff, they're out of their own pocket. They're buying supplies for the kids.
I know. Yeah.
I mean, look at all the stuff that Bree does for her kids, and the fact that you know, our friend Peter, who passed away like last year. He was actually, Peter used to be a judge and a lawyer and stuff, and he used to give Bree money so that she could buy supplies for her kids, for her classroom kids.
Yeah, Hawaii's not known for its public education. I think it's right up there with Mississippi.
Well, hopefully, I think as more and more kids stay at home with the parents, yeah. I think they're beginning to appreciate you teachers more and more.
I know. I feel it's like I love being at school, but you know, so it's kind of tough. You know, it's just a weird thing to be experiencing. You know, like not going into school and not having all this time off. It's like, man, I enjoy the time off, but at the same time, it's, you know, I'm looking forward to kind of getting back. You know?
Yeah, to be honest, I miss the kids like Diane Lux's kids and stuff, who just can run up to you and give you a hug. And, you know, I don't know what the new reality, what do you think the new reality is going to kind of look like? Do you think it'll return to more or less the way we were before, or is it going to be more elbows instead of high fives?
I don't even, you know, I can't even speculate. It's so crazy that I don't, you know, it's like things change or changing, you know, every day. So who knows what it's going to be like? You know, we're already talking about what school next year could be like, you know, the possibility of it. having to close school again, or when it's going to reopen, and like no one knows really. It's all up in the air, really.
Yeah, I think I still feel we're real fortunate here being in the middle of the Pacific and stuff. Do you ever, I don't ever get it because we live on the Big Island. Do you ever get island fever where you feel that you have to get off the rock?
Never. I hardly ever want to leave Volcano, really. Like, I feel like I can go from the rainforest to be in the desert, to be in the coastal areas, like in Halape, places like that. So it's like, I love Volcano. I never want to leave, pretty much. It's just my kind of place of energy. And we're so lucky to live here. We have so many different climate zones. Like if it's raining too much, I'm sick of the rain, I could just drive over, drive down south or something, So we have the best of everything here,
Have you ever thought, since you're now biking a little bit more, have you ever thought about doing it? I don't know. Have you ever done a triathlon?
Only the Captain Cook Challenge is the only one I've ever done. But besides that, I don't know. I think maybe I don't know. When was the first year you did a triathlon?
1997.
See, it seems like maybe the culture of it was cool, like when it first started, but then it just seems like it's kind of morphed into this, just like, I don't know. It's just like so ego driven or egomaniacs, so that kind of turns me off of triathlons altogether. But I like those Team Mango events where they're just kind of like, you show up and it's like, it reminds me of more of like the feel of like a trail run or something, where it's just kind of out there having fun. It's not this like people having like $50,000 bikes and, geeking out, it's just crazy. Like, so the sport of triathlon is just kind of seems weird to me. Like, how did it turn into this like cool, rugged thing to kind of what it is now,
Yeah, it's more business driven now and more, because back in 1997 and 2005, there was a triathlon in Aspen, which was fun. In fact, I was teasing a friend of ours, Florian, about, he was out on his bike on Oahu, he lives there, and he was doing a selfie stick while he was riding the bike, doing videos and stuff. And I just posted, well, that's a penalty.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be doing that. And he kind of went on a little bit about how, well, the roads are this and this. And I just said, you're talking like a triathlete.
Yeah, I know. I'm so great. Yay, look what I just did. I just went for a bike ride.
With the I capitalized. I don't know. I think he noticed that, where it's like, there is no I in triathlon. Oh, wait, there is.
I know. So that's kind of what's got me. I know if there's like a triathlon, like they're expensive too, like several $1,000s to do. It's like, there's no way in hell I'm going to pay for that. So I'll do maybe some of I like the P-Man events and the Team Mango ones. Those are so cool, so cool for the island. Like, so those kind of events I'll do. But other than that, I'm not going to do like the Iron Man. That's like a Chinese corporation owns them. Like,
well, they just sold it.
Oh, they sold it. Oh, who's the new owner?
The new owner is the family that owns Condé Nast magazine out of New York.
Wow.
And it was actually financed sort of by an investment group in New Zealand and stuff. But the deal is that they bought Iron Man, but the Wanda Group, which is the Chinese group, the Wanda Group has the license to run the events, to do the events for now.
Wow.
If there are any events.
Yeah. It's cool. It's like I love biking, swimming, and running all separately, but then, when you put them all together into that, I don't know, who knows?
Well, I think like the Captain Cook Challenge is perfect because it's swimming, running, biking, and running again.
Running, exactly. It seems like a lot of the Ironman seems like bike heavy. Like you have to be like a super into biking to kind of feel good at that.
Well, now, dude, you're turning into a pretty good biker here.
It's fun just to be out, kind of pedaling around and seeing cool sights.
Wait, now do you and Alex have matching kits? Triathlon kits?
Yeah, so they have Iron Man insignia. I'm actually thinking about getting a tattoo. You know, Iron Man. I ride my bike 100 miles. You
Ooh.
know? And then I could even do, what is it called, a brick? That's when you do like a bike and then a brick. It's got to be like labeled something, right? And then I brick, man. Do you brick? You don't know.
No, I mean, you're coming from the same place that I am, where it was like there was less thought involved in planning a lot of times. And it was just a lot of the events that I've done have been based more on feelings.
Yeah, it's cool. It's just cool to adventure, and that's kind of where I'm coming from. With it is just cool to adventure and see, get out and see where we're living. Yes.
So, is it what you're and Alex doing? Don't you have some? Isn't there some adventuring things, camps? I thought I saw on the website.
Adventuring camps? It's like some friends have come over, and like we've kind of gone like on some of the like iconic places around the island to run, and just kind of fun stuff like that. Like going to like Waipi to Waimanu one day, then go to like Halape the next, and then the next go up to Mauna Kea. So it's just kind of cool. There's so many cool iconic places here to run that are like kind of like the Havasu Falls or something like that. Like they're just like these unique places, and we're fortunate to have several of those kind of places here.
Well, I think I know. I'll speak personally. I'm fortunate to have you as a friend, and I think Hawaii is very fortunate to have you as somebody who is here, sharing aloha.
Yeah, I feel super fortunate just to have been able to live here and to make it work. I never would have guessed, like 10 years ago or whatever, 20 years ago, like, oh, you would be living in Volcano, Hawaii. Like, what? How did that happen?
Maybe that's the title for this podcast. I'll put Billy Barnett. What? How did that happen?
Yeah.
Well, thank you, Billy. Thank you for the time. I appreciate it. I certainly
thank you. It's nice talking with you.
And I will definitely label this like part 1.
Hey, yeah, great, anytime. It's nice. Love to hear more about your time, your travels too. That sounds pretty cool.
I'm just old. That's all.
Well, apparently I'm in my late 40s, right? So.
Yeah, you're in your late 40s. Alex has a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
Okay, happy again. Aloha, mahalo nui loa, and stuff for being willing to sit down and chit chat and stuff. And as we say here in Hawaii, talk story. So yes. I'm gonna press the magic keys if I remember which ones they are, and pause the recording and stuff now. So thank you, Billy.
Right, thank you.
Aloha again, and thank you, Billy, for taking the time for us to have a little chit chat, talk story, as we say here in Hawaii. And I want to make sure that I mention a couple of the races that we talked about. There was certainly the Time for Wine, which if you go to Hawaii Mountain Running, Hawaii Mountain Running, you can see the webpage there. There's two different races that Billy and Alex still have going on here. One is the Time for Wine, which is tentatively now for August 22nd. And the other race is the Under the Moon. There we go. Here it is, Under the Moon 100K, which is 62 miles. It's tentatively set for June 6th right now. So hopefully those races will happen, and we can enjoy those. And because they are races that are kind of very isolated, and there shouldn't be a problem really social distancing, hopefully, and hopefully things will get better too. But again, thank you, Billy Barnett. And indeed, this will be part 1 of Billy Barnett, because Billy, for his young age, as much as I tease him, has done an amazing amount of stuff, shall we say. And him and Alex are great. So I want to do an interview with them specifically about, I think it's going to be about running recovering from running injuries, which, maybe people now have more of an opportunity because there aren't any races going on to recover. So again, if you want to support us, you can subscribe on YouTube. You can also find us on iTunes, Stitcher, and just about every other podcast audio site by just searching for Big Island Hawaii Ultra. That usually brings us up. You can always email me at joe@joefireball.com. I'd love to hear from you. And any comments and any suggestions that you have, we are going to be probably doing once. It's still going to be a while. I'm going to still focus on the Big Island here in Hawaii, but I'm going to start branching out to maybe Oahu and some of the people that I know on Oahu that will have the time for an interview. So again, mahalo nui loa to Billy, and appreciate the time that you have now to watch a little bit of another person's running career and running life, but also make sure you guys go out there and still do it. So aloha.